Corruption. It's a word that evokes anger, frustration, and a sense of injustice. Today, we're diving into the murky waters of global corruption. Stay tuned as we reveal the top 10 most corrupt countries in the world, based on the latest data from Transparency International. Hey everyone, welcome back to Landmark Legend. Let's uncover the truth behind corruption worldwide. Corruption is the abuse of entrusted power for private gain. Transparency International's Corruption Perceptions Index ranks countries by their perceived levels of public sector corruption, using a scale from 0, highly corrupt, to 100, very clean. Let's start our countdown. At number 10, we have Libya. Libya has been grappling with corruption amid ongoing conflict and instability. The absence of a stable government and weak institutions have created an environment where corrupt practices can thrive. Public resources are often misappropriated by those in power, severely impacting development and public services. The lack of accountability and transparency has led to widespread distrust among citizens. Despite these challenges, there are efforts underway to establish stronger governance frameworks and improve accountability. However, progress is slow due to political resistance and the complex security situation. Civil society organizations are striving to promote transparency and advocate for reform, but they face significant obstacles. International partners continue to support these efforts, aiming to build a more transparent and accountable system. 9. North Korea. In North Korea, corruption is deeply entrenched in society. The regime's tight control over resources and information creates a system where bribery and favoritism are commonplace. Citizens often need to pay bribes for basic services, and the lack of transparency makes it nearly impossible to hold officials accountable. Efforts to address corruption are virtually non-existent, as the government maintains strict control over all aspects of life. International sanctions and isolation further complicate the situation, as the regime prioritizes its survival over reform. Despite the dire circumstances, there are some reports of growing dissatisfaction among citizens, indicating potential pressure for change in the future. 8. Afghanistan. Afghanistan has struggled with pervasive corruption for decades, exacerbated by ongoing conflict and political instability. Corruption affects every aspect of governance, from the judiciary to law enforcement, undermining public trust. International aid intended for development is often misappropriated, further hindering progress and contributing to poverty. Efforts to combat corruption are frequently undermined by political interference and a lack of independent oversight. Despite these challenges, there are ongoing initiatives to strengthen institutions and promote transparency, supported by international partners. Civil society and independent media play crucial roles in exposing corruption, but they face threats and intimidation. The path to reform is challenging, but there is determination to build a more accountable system. 7. Equatorial Guinea. Equatorial Guinea is rich in natural resources, yet corruption prevents these benefits from reaching the population. The ruling elite often control wealth, leading to widespread inequality and poverty. Public funds are frequently diverted for personal gain, and there is little accountability. Efforts to combat corruption face resistance from those in power, making reform difficult. The lack of independent media and civil society further complicates efforts to promote transparency. International organizations continue to advocate for change, emphasizing the need for stronger governance and accountability. Despite the challenges, there is a growing awareness among citizens about the need for reform, offering hope for future progress. 6. Sudan. Political instability and weak governance have made Sudan a hotspot for corruption. Public officials are often implicated in corrupt practices, from embezzlement to fraud. The lack of independent oversight allows corruption to flourish unchecked, affecting public services and development. Despite these challenges, recent political changes have sparked hope for reform, with new leadership promising to tackle these issues head-on. Efforts to establish stronger institutions and promote transparency are underway, supported by international partners. Civil society organizations are actively advocating for accountability and justice, playing a crucial role in driving change. The journey to reform is complex, but there is a strong commitment to building a more transparent and accountable system. Now let's dive deeper into the top 5. Number 5. Venezuela. Venezuela's political and economic crisis has been worsened by rampant corruption at every level. Government officials and business leaders alike are often involved in corrupt activities, leading to severe shortages and economic collapse. The judiciary is seen as ineffective, and efforts to combat corruption are often thwarted by political interests. Despite the dire situation, civil society continues to advocate for change, pushing for greater transparency and accountability. International organizations are working to support these efforts, emphasizing the importance of reform. The path to recovery is challenging, but the resilience of the Venezuelan people offers hope for a more equitable future. 4. Yemen. Yemen is embroiled in a devastating conflict that has exacerbated corruption. The lack of a stable government and ongoing war make it difficult to address corrupt practices. Humanitarian aid is often diverted, and public services are severely affected, worsening the humanitarian crisis. International efforts are focused on providing aid and supporting governance reforms, but the situation remains challenging. Despite the adversity, local organizations are working tirelessly to promote transparency and accountability. The resilience of the Yemeni people and the commitment of international partners offer hope for a more stable and just future. 3. Syria. The ongoing conflict in Syria has led to rampant corruption, with those in power exploiting the situation for personal gain. Public resources are often misused, and basic services are inaccessible to many, deepening the humanitarian crisis. Corruption is deeply entrenched, affecting everyday life for Syrians. Despite the challenges, efforts to rebuild the country include plans to address corruption and promote transparency. International organizations are working to support these initiatives, emphasizing the importance of accountability and reform. The road to recovery is long, but the determination of the Syrian people offers hope for a brighter future. 2. South Sudan. South Sudan, the world's youngest nation, is plagued by corruption that hinders its development. Political elites often control resources, leading to widespread poverty and inequality. Efforts to combat corruption are complicated by ongoing conflict and a lack of strong institutions. International partners are working to support governance reforms, focusing on building capacity and promoting transparency. Despite the challenges, there is a growing awareness among citizens about the need for change, offering hope for future progress. The resilience and determination of the South Sudanese people are crucial in the fight against corruption, paving the way for a more equitable future. 1. Somalia. At the top of our list, Somalia faces immense challenges with corruption due to its long-standing instability and weak governance structures. Public officials often misuse resources, and basic services are inaccessible to many, exacerbating poverty. Despite international efforts to support development and governance, corruption remains a significant barrier. Building stronger institutions and promoting transparency are critical steps in tackling the corruption crisis. The resilience of the Somali people and the commitment of international partners offer hope for future progress. Civil society organizations play a key role in advocating for reform and accountability, pushing for a more transparent and just system. And there you have it, the top 10 most corrupt countries in the world. Remember, corruption isn't just about numbers. It's about real lives affected every day. Let us know in the comments what you think can be done to combat corruption. If you found this video insightful, give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this.